there. And I know many good community organizations that were co-opted by BLM and turned into, well, but that's BLM. And when, they weren't. They were really good criminal justice community organizations. And, BLM started so well, but I think what happens, again, with these movements is that they come from a great place of good intent, and they are so powerful because they have the whole world looking.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have all of these other actors around the movement. You have the media.
Mm-hmm.
You have politicians, right? You have these other forces that I don't even really understand, right? And they're looking at how to use the energy in this movement and direct it for their own purposes and their own gains.
Yes.
And that's when we get nowhere good.
Exactly.
We go backwards. And we hurt all of the other organizations that are doing the grassroots community work of care first and restorative justice, and talking, like going into the prison system and trying to make sure that there's fairness and cases are being expedited properly and giving fair, and that people actually have access to justice, which is an entire layer of professionals that are organized in various ways that all have operational inefficiencies. So like, if we focus on actually the infrastructure and not the movement, we are going to move together forward. We're not going to move in vitriol forward.
Yes.
And so again, BLM I think started off very good, but its own growth and its own success I think kind of backfired on itself.
So they had the wrong people in charge of it who were out for themselves, and that's been proven with the mansions and all the ugliness that came along with it, which is so unfortunate because, to your point, usually that's the minority. The majority of the people involved in any of these groups have a good heart and want to do the right thing. Sadly, then, that's all you hear about, and that's rightfully so. I mean, when there's no way to trace where the dollars went to help good, and then it ends up being the boy who cried wolf, and then, well, is this really racism or is it not? And then the trust is gone. It's all about the infrastructure with the right people.
Yeah.
Where there's accountability, and that comes from leadership.
And also, all of the organizations in the criminal justice reform effort, a lot of them are really, really excellent. And I don't want to lose that energy. And so I've never turned my back on that group of people. And I continue to support this group of people. And, BLM had made so much money. I mean, I never funded them directly, but then I started looking at some of the budgets and I was like,
crazy.
That was a lot of money. But I have seen them give to some good projects. So I can't say that BLM is all bad. And I think that, from a perspective of, this is an organization that, became very powerful very quickly.
Fast.
Very quickly. And got a lot of, good faith donors that really believed in the vision. I think, again, when you have these external forces around them, you get behavior that doesn't realize that it's not in and of itself carrying the criminal justice reform movement, but you get behavior that can't see everything else because they're so balkanized around.
And then you have,
what
unfortunately, those who know exactly what they're doing. And again, it's not just BLM. It's through corporate America in many ways, right?
Exactly.
But it's everywhere. But I think when you have a Breonna Taylor or some of those, the very public cases, who then, this is the perfect person to help me. And again, that's an example of, the reason I bring that up is because the family then came out and said, where was Black Lives Matter? They weren't there to help us. So when you have the most publicized cases with the opportunity to help them and they say, where were you? That's when you're done, frankly. And then you wonder, then you wonder why people don't trust. And this is
Yeah.
what the job is. One of a million jobs that you will have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To try to, yes, fix infrastructures, but man, if that trust isn't there
Yeah.
by the average person, then I'm like, I love what you're saying, but your track record kind of sucks, and I don't want to give money to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think in terms of all of the organizations out there,
Yeah, corporate America.
you know, and corporate America,
The worst.
like, is you know, has a lot going on that, whew, I mean, like, Bobby is taking charge with that in a way that is so refreshing and is so bold. I mean, he's taking on every single major industry that has captured all of our biggest agencies, um, and the power in these groups is enormous, and he's taking them all on in one campaign. It's not like he's just taking on one; he's taking them all on.